Hey girl, hey, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Misha. Thank you guys for joining me yet again for another review. Tonight we are reviewing Married to Medicine Season 8 Episode 13, Chanel Charade, honey. Chanel, but wasn't no Chanel in it, okay? If we gonna get into it, let's get into it. If you are here for the first time, then welcome. If you're back for a second or third time, welcome back. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you get anything out of the content. Now let's get into it. When the episode first opens up, we see Dr. Jackie talking about getting pregnant with Vaseline. Honey, I'm not quite sure, okay? Toya's doing a photo shoot. Bum, 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 bum. It's a photo shoot. Okay, girl. Simone doing an exam. And then, okay, because this child is, this part right here, child, let's get into it if we gonna get into it. We see Eugene going over to Dr. Simone's house, right, with Cecil in his favorite place down there at that bar, okay, whipping up some Moscow mules, okay, and I'm assuming because of what the drinks were in, right? So Cecil is whipping up some drinks, child. Cecil still think he at Morehouse, and the fellows come in and they're having a drink, right? So the first person to arrive was Eugene. Scott wasn't there yet. So Eugene thanked him for having them over for couples night, and he said, he guessed, hell is frozen over because Contessa and Toya are now cool. So Cecil was like, Toya's good about forgiving. Say what now? Okay. I mean, I guess I don't know that Toya. I'm just assuming. Now Cecil said it's so it must be so, right? So then Scott, with his bad behavior, he gets there, right? So Scott gets there and they do a cheers. And they start talking about the office. So he's like, yeah. So they asked him about the office first. They said, how's the office going? He's like, yeah, they hung up some TVs and everything. I got the contractors to do a little bit of work. So he couldn't wait. He's like, yeah, I interviewed this little esthetician. Yeah, I don't think Contessa gonna let me hire her though. She bad. And so they were like, oh, she looking like something? Tell me why this man pulled out his phone. First of all, yuck, you little creep. See, this is why my Instagram is private. Okay, so you got her picture all up and through. You looking at her social media has nothing to do with you hiring her. Ain't no telling what you doing with that picture. And why do you have it so at the ready? Okay, it was like they didn't even have to ask you. You was like, yeah, y'all want to see? Oh, now, honey. Cecil was like, you got the picture in your phone? No wonder she ain't gonna let you hire her. Exactly. And let me tell you something. My man could not hang around with Scott. Because birds of a feather eventually flock together. I don't want you flocking with my man, teaching him them bad habits, okay? Oh, honey. Contessa, baby, it's looking worse than I thought. Scott for the streets, child. So then, as soon as he starts showing them the picture or whatever, we see the ladies in the confessional. We just saw Simone, because Cecil gonna run that back. If he don't do nothing else, Cecil gonna go tell Simone what's going on, okay? Because she holds the purse strings. And he know he ain't gonna be able to stand down there at that bar episode after episode if he be keeping secrets. So he ran and told Simone, and Simone was like, well, how did she look? Was she bad? Like bada boom, bada bang? Or was she, and the way I called it, I don't know if y'all called it how I called it, but I was looking at the corner of my eye, and I mean, she ain't nothing to call home about. And quiet as it's kept, Contessa is bad. The girl got a body on her, and she's pretty. So I'm trying to figure out, Scott, what are you looking for, honey? Looking how you looking. Boy, goodbye. Anyway, so as he's showing them the picture, Cecil's trying to go on to something else. So he was like, so Scott, what did you think about the couples, the couples night? Because he's trying to get Scott back on the right page. And Scott was like, yeah, it was cool. And so then Eugene said, yeah, Contessa said, you normally walk out. He said, not all the time. They say you do something and you really don't do it all the time. He said, I maybe did it like 3 or 4 times. So then Eugene was like, yeah, you know how women are. They say you do it one time and then all of a sudden you do it every time, right? So he said, yeah, so what did you think about the counseling? Are you still going to do the counseling? Because Scott was like, nah, I'm not going to do it. Cecil said, listen, just let her set it up and then you show up. And so then Scott said, listen, I'm a military person. I'm not her subordinate. Okay, so I'm going to do what I want to do. And Cecil said, listen, sometimes you just have to do it because it makes her happy. Cecil, you better speak your speech and drop these gems on him right quick and get that picture out of your phone. You do know your wife is going to see this, right? Child, she going to be crying all up and through the reunion. This is going to be a mess. So anyway, Scott said, yeah, I'm kind of like an old man and I don't really want to do no changing. Child, you just giving nothing but excuses, Scott. Nothing but excuses. You don't want to do the right thing by your wife. You don't want to go to counseling. You don't want to fix it, but you do want to hire this hot esthetician that you can watch walk around there so you can have an entanglement of sorts. Okay, child. Anila and her nanny go over to the house to see the home that's being built, and it's coming along nicely. Her and Miss Gomez are walking around, and Anila is showing her, all the things. And she's like, listen, and this is your part, and this is going to be your kitchen. And I'm like, girl, that's not something to be telling that lady. That's going to be her kitchen. No, that's going to be your kitchen, and you're going to hire her to work in it. Girl, Anila, honey, I like the way you packaged it up, though, to make it seem like you were gifting her something, okay? So she was like, we still need lighting, countertops, and a lot of other things, but it is coming along. So then they go through the closet, and Anila said, you know what, just because Miss Gomez asked her how she felt, and she said, just looking at this, I just feel so accomplished. I just really feel accomplished by getting all of this together. And she said, I don't know if it stems from when I was a child or what. I look differently than everyone. And those things that they say to you, that sticks out, and that sticks with you. So Miss Gomez said, so are you okay now? And she's like, yeah, I just hope that my kids don't have to go through the same thing. So then she said, well, your daughter told me that she wants blue eyes and blonde hair. Oh, wow. And so Anila was unaware. She had no idea. And this is why I always speak life into my son. All the time. I always tell him how handsome he is, how he's a leader, how he has integrity, how he's a strong person, how he can do anything, how he's wonderfully made in God's image. I always speak life into him because you don't know what those little minds are thinking. And her daughter is in kindergarten, the same as my son, and they're being influenced now. Now is the time that they're being molded. So I just was like, man, that just really struck a chord with me because I'm like, these little babies, they see things and they want to mimic them. But little do they know that everything that you have is already perfect. Okay? Exactly how you are. Perfect. So all is right with the season again, okay? Because Dr. Jackie and Simone are eating lunch together. Okay, girls. Simone said the March on Washington made her realize that they had some work to be done, right? And she wants to throw a town hall meeting for the people to vote. So then Dr. Jackie said, did you ask Lisa to help you? She said, yeah, but she turned around and asked me to be on a panel for something we were supposed to do together. And I was thinking, like, why are you asking me to be on a panel when we're supposed to be working as a team? This is the thing, honey. Don't y'all ask Lisa Nicole to do nothing. She ain't doing nothing else. Ain't nobody buying no Lisa Nicole Cloud originals. So when y'all give her something to do, honey, she gonna go and get it done and call you later. Child, y'all should have learned that from Heavenly a few seasons back. So Simone said, I feel like her assistant. She has plans. She already sent out this letter. She has panelists in place. She already found the venue. So Dr. Jackie said, we thought Heavenly was crazy. Listen, Simone didn't say, no, Heavenly was right. She didn't say anything. She just sat there eating her soup. Honey, I caught that. Then they flashed back to years ago when Lisa did business with Heavenly, and she tried to tell y'all heifers that, but y'all didn't want to hear it because it's Heavenly, okay? Lisa has a takeover spirit, okay? She just does what she wants to do when she wants to do it. She tried to tell y'all. Then we see Simone, and Simone said, you would think she would have learned, but I guess a zebra never changes their stripes. I guess not. Zach and Heavenly are going over to the house because, they got that house together, and she said they're going to be renting it out as an Airbnb, and he's doing some renovations on it, okay? I'm like, oh, okay. And then when she said what the mortgage was, this is why I think Texas running a scam, okay? Because she said this house was $400,000+, but their mortgage is $1,800. In Texas, you can get a $200,000 home, and your mortgage is still $1,800. So I'm trying to figure out what I'm going to do. What kind of mortgage am I going to have with a $400,000 home in Texas? Child, let me find out we're being scammed, okay? Anyway, I don't know if it's according to the credit score or what's happening, but the math ain't mathing. Anyway, they go inside. Heavenly noticed that her whole entire decor is now inside this Airbnb, okay? Pictures, wine, everything. Honey, Zach has taken everything from over there and placed it inside this Airbnb. I know that's right, honey. Way to save money. So Zach pieced together this decor, okay? And I wouldn't do nothing with this Airbnb, honey. I wouldn't rent this out if somebody paid me. I'm just saying. So they go sit outside, and he tells Heavenly, I feel you're just a great mom. You really do a lot for us, and I really admire you. Heavenly and Dr. Damon, they raised them kids. Let me tell you something. Heavenly might be, I tell her that, your mama. She might be cackling and all of that, but they raised some very stand-up children. Shout out to Dr. Damon, honey, because I know you were the driving force. No, I'm just kidding. Dr. Heavenly got some sense, and she loves her babies, even though she gonna drink out that coffee cup, okay? But they really did raise some stand-up kids. Every time I see them, I'm just like, these are some good kids. Dr. Simone's kids are good as well. We don't really see Toya and Eugene's children as much because they're smaller, but the children on this franchise, they're very, very stand-up kids. So Heavenly said, a lot of people really don't know me like you know me, baby. She said, and family is very important to me. That's all you have at the end of the day is your family. And that is the truth. And sometimes you don't even have them though, honey. So she asked, she was like, so what you gonna do? What kind of woman you gonna get? A woman like your mama? Honey, Zach was looking like, no. But he went on ahead and said, yes, ma'am. Because he's a Southern gentleman. So he was like, let me not hurt my mama feelings. And honey, these cameras rolling. I don't want to get cussed out. So yes, ma'am, I'm going to get a woman just like my mama. In the next scene, we see LaTanya, and she comes to visit Dr. Contessa at the office, and she's a life coach, right? Okay, so we know that Contessa said she was going to leave the counseling on the back burner and not mention it anymore to Scott. So she's taking it amongst herself to get her own self some counseling, okay? So she comes into the office, and Contessa can't wait for her to take this shield and this mask off. She's like, oh, I've been tested, so you're good. You can go ahead and take that off. Honey, they hugging out cheek to cheek. Lord, Contessa, we just had an issue up and through a few episodes ago with everybody having to quarantine because of you. You cannot hug these people. They could be carriers. Just because someone has no symptoms and they're not showing any signs of COVID doesn't mean they're not carrying the virus to spread it to you. Child, I'm just not going to let nobody kill me. Let's move forward. So she asked Contessa what she wanted to get from the conversation because they sat down together. Contessa said, I want to get peace, clarity, and understanding. She said, okay, my job today from this conversation will be to get you peace, clarity, and understanding. So they talk about her mom having breast cancer at like the age of 27. And she was like, well, who was there for your mom? Who was her caretaker? And she said it was mostly me and my siblings. We were her caregivers. So then she asked Contessa if she trusted Scott with her heart. Child, no answer. And then she started to cry. Honey, I already know the answer. It's a no. She said, you can't really trust someone that says they were done with you. So then they flash back to him saying he's done with her because she went to school. Okay. And so LaTanya said, well, do you feel like you married your dad? And she said, yeah, because she was saying that her dad was emotionally unavailable as well. And that's the same way Scott is. Child, this is a mess. I feel so bad for Contessa because it's like she's trying to verbalize her feelings and work through them, but it's hard to do that when you're on camera. And I feel like this is the time that she cries out because she knows that us as viewers, we're watching, and she feels like that'll probably help a positive change as far as her and Scott are concerned. But they might need to get off this Married to Medicine, honey, if they want this marriage to survive, because the way he acting, carrying around phones with pictures in them, honey, I don't know if he's going through a midlife crisis or what is happening, but child, something's gonna have to be done soon. Over at Anila's house, the kids are home from school, so Anila asks Ari about her day at school, right? She was talking about a friend, and Anila was like, well, I hope she's being nice to you because that's really all that matters, right? And she said, mommy's your friend, and I want you to be able to talk to me. I'm your mommy, but I'm also your friend. And I was like, oh, that's what I tell my son all the time. I'm like, mommy's your best friend. Okay, you can tell me anything, okay? Because you want them to feel open enough to share with you and not be afraid, okay? So she said she asked her about what Miss Gomez said. She said, Miss Gomez said that you said you wanted blonde hair and blue eyes. Why? She said, because everyone has white skin. Oh, see, it's hard when you don't have a representative. This is the thing. I wanted my son to go to a school that was in a great school district, okay? But oftentimes it's segregated without being segregated, if you know what I mean. It's predominantly white. So he sees no one like him. So I had to make the tough choice to put him in a more diverse school where the school system wasn't as great, but he would have representation, or put him in a school district where I know they have the funding, but he may not understand or get what he needs. You see what I mean? And so I decided to do the other. I decided, you know what? The school might not have the greatest funding, but he's going to have representation and he's going to learn. Okay. And that's just what I had to do because, child, I refuse for him to be walking around thinking everybody is one skin color. So she tells her, she said, listen, you're beautiful with your skin color, your dark hair, everything about you is beautiful. So she tells her daughter to repeat it, right? And she said, and let me tell you this. Daddy's cousin was Miss America with her brown skin. And I really loved the fact that Anila took the time to let her know, listen, you're beautiful just the way you are. And she really is a beautiful, beautiful little girl. She's like, you're beautiful just the way you are. Your skin is beautiful. You're great. And she just poured into her. It was a beautiful scene. I loved it. Anila is slowly becoming one of my favorites. At first, I was like, Anila, honey, pipe down, child, honey. Don't speak your speech yet. You don't know these ladies. But as the season is going on, I'm starting to see her heart and I'm starting to see how she carries herself. And I actually like Anila. So that was the scene with them. And I really appreciated that. Over at Lisa's house, honey, I don't know if she's preparing for the Met Gala or a screening at the Sundance Film Festival or the Oscar after party, because I'm just so confused, child. It's a 6-course menu. Lisa is wearing a full-length gown, all for them to sit around a table and talk about a town hall meeting that they would have. Child, I was so confused. So she's preparing for that, and Anila shows up first, honey, because Anila gonna show up on time if she don't do nothing else. And she asked Lisa, she said, did you see my post on my Instagram stories? She's like, no, let me see it, honey. Anila, girl, who put that post together, child? Girl, I wouldn't have paid you $5 for that post, let alone $400. So anyway, okay, girl. Simone shows up and asks Anila about how her daughter's party was. And so she was like, oh, I wish you would have really been there. We missed you. She was like, well, some of us have to work. Okay, Simone, you asked her how the party was, and you better be glad she even invited you. Your little attitude's starting to get nasty, okay? So she's sitting there being passive aggressive instead of her just telling Lisa exactly what it is. Child, Simone brought down the entire energy. Anila said, you seem down. She said, do I seem down or irritated? And Lisa said, you seem irritated. She was like, oh, yeah, that's what it is. Just then, Carrie in her perfect timing, ding dong, she shows up. And so they go back over to sit down. And Lisa says, so what's wrong with you, Simone? Oh, child, here we go. Simone said, I know you didn't talk to me or the others, but I wanted to know if you talked to them about collective planning. And Lisa said, no, not really. Simone said, well, you jumped ahead and sent out this letter with only your name on it. So you need to be cognizant of that and understand that you need to do teamwork. And so Lisa was just sitting there looking, and she's like, oh, okay. Then Toya came bouncing in, honey, talking about, are we supposed to be dressed up? Oh, okay, because I didn't know. Are we supposed to be dressed? I'm like, oh, my God, here we go. Because I got on jeans. So Heavenly comes in with her jeans open, bust wide open, child, showing her vagine, and they buttoned her on up. Looked like Heavenly had on a pair of pantyhose underneath. I'm like, what is happening? And Lisa goes over to her with a tape measurer, trying to measure her waist and laugh and hug. Child, sit down, Lisa. Nicole, girl, sit down. Child, Lisa's still just as corny as she was last season or whatever season she was on there, child. I like Lisa Nicole, but you got to figure out a time and a place, because child, Heavenly was like, get off me, Lisa. I don't feel like playing. Get off me. I'm not in the mood. So Heavenly was already in a bad mood when she first entered the door. They go over to the table, right? So Toya hears and runs over there, and she starts switching her place settings because she's like, I don't want to sit by her. Ooh, I sure don't want to sit by her. So she started moving all this stuff around, right? So we hear Anila say, okay, so first you came late to my daughter's party, and then you move your seat. So we're really not cool? Are you just like pretending? Child, Toya ain't cool with Anila. Allegedly. So then Lisa was like, Toya, that was not your seat. Lisa and Simone started talking about the meeting, right? So Lisa was like, me and Simone. And Simone was looking like, it ain't no me and Simone. And Quad asked, where's the meeting going to be? So Lisa starts spewing out that she knows where the venue is going to be and it has screens for the people to be virtual and all of this. So Contessa said, are y'all working together? Simone said, no, not really. Oh, child. So Lisa said, I was working with Oprah to get her there. Girl, you done sent Oprah an Instagram DM. She ain't never respond, honey. And you talking about you been working with Oprah to get her there. Talking about, and Charlamagne the God, and he said yes. Child, let us find out Charlamagne finna release a statement saying he ain't never talked to Lisa Nicole. Oh my goodness, honey. Not Charlamagne, child. He go anywhere, child. He go to the opening of an envelope. So it don't really matter if you got him, but you said you got Oprah. So right as she said that, Contessa gonna say, oh, okay, well, I'm gonna bring Beyonce. Yeah, I got Beyonce. Girl, God, I'm done with y'all. So Carrie said, to your defense, when I worked with Mariah Carey, honey, baby, everybody started falling out. Not Mariah Carey, Carrie. Girl, the lies, honey, in my candy voice. So Lisa pulls out a gift bag, right? And she says, I got a gift for someone. Can anybody guess who this gift is for? And so all the ladies are just looking around trying to figure out who's it for. So then Lisa, honey, this episode should have been called Pulling Out That Phone. Because then Lisa pulls out her phone and shows these text messages between her and Heavenly, right? Where Heavenly called her a fat girl and said that she doesn't weigh 150 pounds. But this is my thing. You started it, Lisa. As soon as she jumped up on that horse, you started saying, the legs are bending, the legs about to break. Is the back bending in? You started it. So now you mad because the girl texting you and saying you don't weigh 150 pounds. Child, okay. So she pulls out this phone to show this screenshot of, her and her fupa on Mr. Ed, and she wanted to give Heavenly a gift. Heavenly wasn't with it, honey. She got up, she got gone, and not before a message. She looked into the door and she said, see, that's why I told you I don't do nothing with Lisa Nicole, because she don't know how to do things right. Honey, all facts, okay? And I'm surprised she didn't come back and start saying your mama, because you know how Heavenly is. Y'all, please leave her alone. I don't be feeling like hearing all that, okay? Quite frankly, y'all can't never get together without a fuss and a fight. I thought we were going to make it through this episode, but apparently not, right? So as she leaves to go outside, Lisa pulls out the gift anyway, and it's a Walmart scale, honey, in a Chanel bag. Let me tell y'all something. That's what I used to do in high school. I would go to the mall, get a Macy's box during Christmas time, but I would get the actual gift from Ross. Okay, take that Ross, take them tags off, fold it up, put a little tissue paper, and put it in a Macy's box, and hand it out as presents, honey. Everybody used to be like, oh my God, you got me something from Macy's? No, ma'am. I got you something from Ross in a Macy's box. Honey, that's how y'all do it. That's just a tip for the holidays. So Quad said, so it wasn't no Chanel in there the whole time. It was not no Chanel in that bag. Honey, it's a Chanel charade. They are so ignorant. I swear, every episode. Ugh. Lisa said, nobody should fat shame. You started it. Okay? You started it. So I don't want to hear it. So Toya said, Dr. Jackie, you let Heavenly degrade everybody, and she needs to be called out. Dr. Jackie cannot control this grown woman. What are you talking about, Toya? She said, you need to call her out. Dr. Jackie said, you need to change your tone. I know that's right, honey. She said, you are not going to get me to think like you, Toya. Check yourself and then talk to me. I know that's right, Dr. Jackie, honey, because I thought you were going to sit there silent, getting ready to play in one of them little lemon squeezes like you used to do a few seasons back, honey. But you told her something. So they go outside to talk to Heavenly to try to reel her back in. She comes back inside. She's like, listen, I'm going to come back inside. I'm going to sit down. Y'all said y'all had a drink for me. Now don't play with me. Heavenly came back in, and then Toya called her Jackie's pit. Now, I don't know if she was saying pit bull or I don't know what she was saying. Okay. And so then Jackie said, your anger this year isn't attractive. It's not becoming. Oh, child. So then she tells Toya to come on. They go into the restroom. Toya tells Heavenly that, Heavenly was one of the first friends that she got introduced to, and that's who introduced her to the group. And then Heavenly all of a sudden became mean. And then she started going on and on. Heavenly called me stupid and all this kind of stuff. And then she starts to cry. Well, this is the thing, Toya. Have a conversation with Heavenly. Heavenly can get ignorant, but I'm sure that she will sit and listen to you if you sit her down and have a genuine conversation with her. Because all of y'all fussing and fighting every single episode, it's wearing us thin. So then they go back to the table after they have a little talk. And I did appreciate the fact that Jackie didn't get loud with her at the table and start going back and forth. They had a sidebar. They talked about it. And then they came back and reconvened with the rest of the ladies. So then they start talking, and Contessa gonna say, well, what is this called? Lisa Nicoles, get out and vote. And that was the end of the episode. Child, Lisa done took the ball and completely ran with it, honey. Y'all know y'all can't do no business with Lisa. Lisa said, I ain't been on this franchise for umpteen seasons. Y'all did my husband wrong. I'm going to get in here. I'm going to speak my speech. Honey, I'm going to get this panel together and sing. Child, and that was the end of the episode. Y'all, this was a little filler episode, I'm assuming. But the biggest thing is, Scott carrying around that phone, honey. And soon Contessa gonna be that ex. Honey, y'all comment down below and tell me what you thought about this episode. If I had to rate it, I would rate it a 6. Please do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, stay safe, stay blessed, spread love, not germs. Peace.